Test 4137, 2024. Q1.D Buddhist Stupa structure. The Buddhist stupa is a sacred monument that represents important aspects of Buddha's teachings and serves as a place of meditation and veneration. The structure of a stupa can vary, but the following elements are commonly found from bottom to top. O platform, the base, Adhisthana. The stupa is usually elevated on a square or circular platform, called the Adhisthana. It symbolizes the earth element and provides a solid foundation for the entire structure. O hemispherical dome, and atop the base, there is a hemispherical dome representing the abode of enlightenment, or nirvana. The dome represents the water element and embodies the vastness of the cosmos. O Harmika, above the dome, there is a square railing known as the Harmika. It symbolizes the transition from the human to the divine realm. The Harmika represents the air element. O Chatra, umbrella. On top of the Harmika, there is an umbrella-like structure called the Chatra, which represents protection and spiritual guidance. It signifies the fire element. O Yashti, shaft rising from the center of the Chatra, there is a vertical shaft known as the Yasti, which symbolizes the axis mundi, connecting the earthly and heavenly realms. The Yasti represents the space element. O Chatri, finial. At the top of the Yasti, there is a crowning element known as the Chatri. It is usually in the shape of a lotus or other decorative forms, symbolizing purity and enlightenment. Hence option D is the correct answer. Q2.C. During Shah Jahan's reign, Aurangzeb, as governor of Deccan, followed an aggressive Deccan policy. Shah Jahan carved 4 Mughal provinces in the Deccan: Khandesh, Berar, Telangana, and Daulatabad. Hence, statement 1 is correct. To contain the spread of the Marathas, Aurangzeb decided to invade Bijapur and Golconda. He defeated Sikandar Shah of Bijapur and annexed his kingdom. Then, he proceeded against Golconda and eliminated the Kutch Shahi dynasty. It was also annexed by him. In fact, the destruction of the Deccan kingdoms was a political blunder on the part of Aurangzeb. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. www.pdfnotes.co 2 www.visioneers.enway.visioneers.in Copyright symbol Vision IAS. Aurangzeb was a staunch and orthodox Muslim in his personal life. His idea was to transform India into an Islamic state. He created a separate department to enforce moral codes under a high-powered officer called Muhtasib. Hence, statement 4 is correct. He was also not tolerant of other Muslim sects. The celebration of Muharram was stopped. His invasions against the Deccan Sultanates were partly due to his hatred of the Shia faith. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Q3.C. Gandhara art. The home of the Gandhara school of art is the territory in and around Peshawar in northwestern India. The best of the Gandhara sculpture was produced during the 1st and 2nd centuries AD. It originated during the reign of Indo-Greek rulers, but the real patrons of this school of art were the Sakas and the Kushanas, particularly Kanishk. Gandhara art was a blend of Indian and Greco-Roman elements. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Specimens of Gandhara sculpture have been found in Taxila, Peshawar, and in several places of northwest India. The Gandhara school made sculptures of the Buddha in various sizes, shapes, and postures. The reliefs depict Buddha's birth, his renunciation, and his preaching. The salient features of Gandhara art are O molding human body in a realistic manner, with minute attention to physical features like muscles, moustache, and curly hair. O thick drapery with large and bold fold lines. O rich carving, elaborate ornamentation, and symbolic expressions. O the main theme was the new form of Buddhism, Mahayanism, and the evolution of an image of Buddha. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Q4.B recent context. The Center for Marine Fisheries Research Institute, CMFRI, the Sakapatnam Center, is currently breeding groupers locally known as Bonthalu in Telugu, John Snapper, Appalu Chapa, and Indian Pompano, Chundavapra, in its mariculture lab. These fishes are available in deep waters, but are not well distributed in the shallow waters. Center for Marine Fisheries Research Institute, CMFRI, the Sakapatnam Center, is currently breeding groupers locally known as Bonthalu in Telugu, John Snapper, Appalu Chapa, and Indian Pompano, Chundavapra, in its mariculture lab. These fishes are available in deep waters, but are not well distributed in the shallow waters. The CMFRI has developed knowledges and established protocols for development of broodstock, captive breeding and seed production techniques of selected marine fish. The objective is to provide sustained income to coastal fish farmers, whose livelihood is being hit by frequent cyclones. The Indian pompano commands the maximum demand. A fully grown adult of this species can weigh between 2.5 kilograms and 5 kilograms. Groupers can grow up to 9 kilograms, and John snapper weighs up to 8 kilograms. Hence option B is the correct answer. Q5.D. The first across the Hindu Kush were the Greeks who ruled Bactria. In the beginning of the 2nd century BC, Indo-Greeks occupied a large part of northwestern India. The most famous Indo-Greek ruler, Menander, ruled between 165 to 145 BC. The Greeks were followed by the Shakas, who controlled a much larger part of India than the Greeks did. Shaka is the Indian term used for the people called Scythians, who originally belonged to Central Asia. Defeated by their neighbors the Ukais, the tribal stock to which the Kushanas belonged, they gradually came to settle in northwestern India around Taxila in the 1st century. B.C. Under the successive Shaka rulers, their territories extended up to Mathura and Gujarat. The Shaka domination in the northwest is followed by that of the Parthians, and in many ancient Indian Sanskrit texts, the two people are together called as Shaka Pallavas. In comparison with the Greeks and the Shakas, Parthians occupied a very small portion of northwestern India. They ruled approximately from 100 BC to 400 CE. Parthians were followed by the Kushans, who are also called as Uchis or Tocharians. We come across successive dynasties of the Kushans. The first dynasty was founded by a house of chiefs called as Kadphisers, who ruled for about 28 years from about 50 AD. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Q6.B. Advaita Vedanta and Advaita Vedanta primarily differ in their views on the nature of reality, Brahman, and the self, Atman. Advaita Vedanta, Shankaracharya. In Advaita Vedanta, the philosophy is based on non-dualism, Advaita, which emphasizes the ultimate oneness and identity of the individual soul, Atman, and the ultimate reality, Brahman. www.visioneers.in According to Dvaita philosophy, Brahman is a personal, supreme God, Vishnu, who is separate from the individual souls. The Jiva and Brahman have eternal and distinct existences. Liberation is attained through devotion, bhakti, to the personal form of God, and the individual soul attains eternal service to God in a blissful state. While both philosophical schools acknowledge the existence of God, the crucial difference lies in their understanding of the relationship between the individual soul and the ultimate reality, Brahman, and how they interpret the nature of reality. Hence option B is the correct answer. In a significant step towards vulture conservation, the Centre has prohibited the sale, manufacture, and distribution of the drugs ketoprofen. The government said that ketoprofen and aceclofenac are harmful to cattle and can kill vultures too if they eat the carcasses of the animals that were administered with these two drugs. The vultures are classified as endangered species in India. Web journal The Print, in a recent report, had quoted the assistant director of Bombay Natural History Society as saying that in 1980s India had around 4 crore vultures, and by the late 1990s, 99% of the population had been wiped out because of a non-steroid anti-inflammatory drug administered to cattle as a painkiller. Painkiller. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Q8.B. Hindustani music is one of the two distinct schools of Indian classical music practiced mainly in North India. The other school of Indian classical music is Carnatic music, which is practiced mainly in southern India. Forms of Hindustani music are Drupad. It is one of the oldest and grandest forms of Hindustani classical music. It finds mention even in Natya Shastra, 200 BC, 200 AD. It reached its zenith in the court of Emperor Akbar. Khyal. The word khyal is derived from Persian and means idea or imagination. The origin of this style was attributed to Amir Khusrau. It is popular amongst the artists as this provides greater scope for improvisation. Based on the repertoire of short songs ranging from 2 to 8 lines. Is also referred to as a bandish. Major Gharanas in Khyal, Gwalior, Kirana, Patiala, Agra, and Bendabazar Gharana. Gwalior Gharana is the oldest and is also considered the mother of all other Gharanas. Hence, statement 3 is not correct. Thumri and Tappa are popular types heard in concerts. The Thumri is very lyrical in its structure and presentation. These forms are termed as semi or light classical. Thumri is a love song and hence the textual beauty is very important. This is closely coordinated with the musical rendition. Thumri is usually set to ragas like Kamai, Kafi, Bhairavi and so on and the musical grammar is not strictly adhered to. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The Tappa consists of the song uttered in fast note patterns. It is a difficult composition and needs much practice. Both the Thumri and Tappa require special training, as do the Drupad and Khyal forms of singing. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Q9.B. The story of Malik Umbar, an African slave-turned-warrior, is an unusual one. Sold and bought several times by slave dealers during his youth. Fate brought him miles away from his home in Ethiopia to India. Not only did Umbar get his freedom back, but he also rose up the social ladder, got an army, vast estates, and founded a city that today goes by the name Aurangabad. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. In the early 1570s, Umbar was taken to the Deccan. Here he was purchased by a certain Chengiz Khan, not the infamous Chengiz Khan of Central Asia. Khan himself was a former slave who had risen to hold the office of Peshwa, or chief minister, of the Nizam Shahi Sultanate of Ahmadnagar in India. However, in Deccan society, the slaves did not have a permanent status. Upon the death of their masters, they were usually set free and served as per their free will in service of powerful commanders in the empire. www.pdfnotes.co. For www.visioneers. Five years after taking him on, Umbar's master and patron Chengiz Khan died, and Umbar was set free. For the next 20 years, he served as a mercenary for the Sultan of neighboring Bijapur. It is here he was given charge of a small troop and bestowed with the title Malik. In 1595, Malik Umbar returned to the Ahmadnagar Sultanate and served under another Habsha lord. This was the time when Mughal Emperor Akbar laid eyes on the Deccan and began a significant military expedition towards Ahmednagar. This was also Akbar's last expedition before he passed away. Thus Malik Umbar was a contemporary of Akbar. Hence statement 2 is correct. It was really during the Mughal invasion of Ahmednagar in the late 1590s that Malik Umbar truly came into his own. The Mughals took the capital of the Ahmadnagar Sultanate, but the wider country around it was still in rebellion. Edging out a rival, Umbar became the leader of the resistance. Other Deccan princes sent money and resources to Umbar to prevent inroads by Akbar and Jahangir's armies into their territories. Apart from being an able fighter, Umbar was also a fine administrator. In 1610, after briefly expelling the Mughals from Ahmednagar, Umbar established a new capital, a city named Kirki, present-day Aurangabad in Maharashtra, for the Sultanate. Q10.C. Padachitra painting. This form of art is closely related to the cult of Sri Jagannath and the temple traditions in Puri, Odisha. It is believed to have originated as early as the 12th century. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The art is also based in West Bengal and parts of Bangladesh. Painting process. Traditionally, the painters are known as chitrakars. Chitrakars follow a traditional process of preparing the canvas. A gauze-like fine cotton cloth is coated with white stone powder and gum made out of tamarind seeds. This makes the canvas ready to accept the paint, made of natural colors. The gum of the kaitha tree is the chief ingredient, used as a base for making different pigments by adding available raw materials. Upon completion of a painting, the canvas is held over a charcoal fire and lacquer is applied to the surface. Padachitra from Odisha and West Bengal have received GI tag. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Q11.C. Akbar made some experiments in the land revenue administration with the help of Raja Todar Amal. The land revenue system of Akbar was called Zabti. or bandobast system. It was further improved by Raja Todar Mal. It was known as Dasala system, which was completed in 1580. By this system, Todar Mal introduced a uniform system of land measurement. The revenue was fixed on the average yield of land assessed on the basis of the past 10 years. The land was also divided into 4 categories: polage, cultivated every year; paroti, once in 2 years; chacha, once in 3 or 4 years; and banja, once in 5 or more years. Payment of revenue was made generally in cash. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Q12.B. By the second decade of the 18th century, the Maratha powers under Peshwa Baji I were striking out against the Mughals in the Deccan and in central India. In 1719, Balaji Vishwanath returned from Delhi with firmans for Chauth and Sardeshmukhi. The Maratha king became the Sardeshmukh of the entire Deccan, Aurangabad. Berar, Bidar, Bijapur, Hyderabad, and Khandesh, and Karnataka. Originally, the Peshwa was only a Mukhaya Pradhan, or prime minister, and his post was not hereditary. When Baji I.O. Balaji Vishwanath's son became Peshwa in 1720, the office became hereditary. In 1740, Balaji Baji Rao, Nana Sahib, became Peshwa. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Till Shahu's death in 1749, he was still under the restraint of the Raja of Satra. Thereafter, he virtually dislodged the Raja from sovereign power. Q13.D. Bihu is a traditional folk dance of Assam. It is usually celebrated in accordance with the agricultural cycle. O Rongli Bohag Bihu, April. It is a festival of merriment and heralds the Assamese New Year and the onset of spring. O Komali Akadi Bihu, October. www.pdfnotes.com Obogali Amar Bihu, January. It is quintessentially the festival of food. It marks the end of the harvesting season. Each Bihu coincides with an idiosyncratic phase in the farming calendar. The Bohag Bihu marks the new year at the advent of seeding time, the Kadi Bihu marks the completion of sowing and transplanting of paddies, and the Mar Bihu marks the end of the harvesting period. On April 13, 2023, 11,304 dancers and musicians performed the traditional Assamese dance of Bihu in Guwahati's Sarusajai Stadium and created 2 world records, i.e. of both the largest performance by folk musicians and the largest Bihu dance performance. Hence option D is the correct answer. Q14.A. The Avadnataka, or the Century of Noble Deeds, is a part of Buddhist literature. It is an anthology, collection of poems, of 100 Buddhist legends, thus, Shataka. Hence statement 1 is correct. Possibly compiled in the 1st-2nd centuries, approximately dating to the same time as the Ashokavadana, the stories are thematically organized into 10 books that portray the truth of the doctrine of karma, action, and the power of religious DNA giving faith and devotion. The language used in these anthologies is Sanskrit, and not Pali. Hence statement 2 is not correct. Q15.B. Recent context. China has released its first homegrown open-source desktop operating system, named OpenKylin. It is based on the existing open-source Linux operating system. China's version was built by a community of about 4,000 developers, and is used in its space program and industries such as finance and energy. China's massive market for operating systems is worth 15.5 billion yuan, $2.1 billion. Developing an operating system independent of US technology has been an important goal for China's tech industry in recent years, with many companies and organizations having contributed to the development of the OpenKylin system. More than a dozen Chinese companies are trying to develop operating systems that could replace Microsoft's Windows and Apple's macOS operating systems. Hence option B is the correct answer. Q16.D. Recent context. Bengaluru has become the first Indian city to become part of the World Cities Culture Forum, WCCF, a global network of cities that share research and intelligence, and explore the role of culture in future prosperity. Hence statement 2 is not correct. The network currently has 40 cities spanning 6 continents. Bengaluru, being the latest addition, is set to join the league of cities like New York, London, Paris, Tokyo, and Dubai, among others. The Global Consortium was founded in 2012 by Justine Simons OBE, London's Deputy Mayor for Culture and the Creative Industries. Hence statement 1 is not correct. Q17.D. There are 8 classical dances in India, including Bharatanatyam, Kathak, Kuchipudi, Odissi, Kathakali, Satriya, Manipuri, and Mohiniyattam, as acknowledged by the Sangeet Natak Academy. Hence statement 1 is correct. Kathak, in particular, has historically been practiced in northern India. The other dances, including Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Kathakali, and Mohiniyattam, are concentrated in South India. Hence statement 2 is correct. It was primarily a temple or village performance wherein the dancers narrated stories from ancient scriptures. For the South Indian dances, Carnatic music is incorporated, example, Bharatanatyam. For Satriya and Odissi, local music is incorporated. Herein, Kathak is the only classical dance that makes use of Hindustani music. Hence statement 3 is correct. Unlike other classical dances, the Kathak dance has particularly evolved in Gharanas. 4. Example, Pandit Biju Maharaj belonged to the Lucknow Gharana, whereas Sitra Devaji belonged to the Jaipur Gharana. These different Gharanas focus on various aspects of the dance, thus creating separate specialties. E.g., the Lucknow Gharana focuses on lasya and face expressions. Hence statement 4 is correct. www.6w Q18.c. A team of researchers from Gandhinagar-based Gujarat Ecological Education and Research (GER) Foundation has discovered a new species of saltwort called Salsala oppositifolia des, perennial shrub that grows in saline, arid to semi-arid environments of the Kutch district. The discovery of Salsala oppositifolia des Fontania, a species that belongs to the family of Amaranthaceae, has been reported in the latest issue of Plant Discoveries, an annual compendium published by the Botanical Survey of India (BSI) since 2007. The new plant species, according to the paper, is a perennial, succulent shrub that can grow 1 to 2 meters tall and have a smooth, cylindrical, woody base. It is rarely prostrate and, unlike other species of Salsala, does not have any hairs. As the name oppositifolia suggests, the leaves of this plant grow opposite each other in the stem. It is a halophyte, a plant adapted to growing in saline conditions. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Q19.a. Recently, a private Chinese company launched into orbit the world's first methane liquid oxygen rocket called Zhuqiu-2, beating US. It was the second attempt by Beijing-based Landspace, one of the earliest firms in China's commercial launch sector, to launch the Zhuqiu-2. Hence, pair 1 is correctly matched. Recently, the Falcon Heavy of SpaceX launched the Jupiter 3 satellite. The launch kicked off a record-breaking mission. Jupiter 3 is the largest commercial communications satellite ever built, according to its operator, Hughes Network Systems. Hence, pair 2 is not correctly matched. Recently, the central government's Computer Emergency Response Team, CERTIN, issued an advisory flagging the emergence of a new ransomware called Akira. Ransomware is essentially a kind of malware, software used to gain unauthorized access to systems to steal data. This data can then be used by cybercriminals to demand a ransom. Hence, pair 3 is not correctly matched. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Q20.b. Apart from the non-sectarian movement led by Kabir and Nanak, the Bhakti movement in North India developed around the worship of Rama and Krishna, two of the incarnations of the god Vishnu. The childhood escapades of the boy Krishna and his dalliance with the milkmaids of Gokul, especially with Radha, became the themes of a remarkable series of saint poets who lived and preached during the 15th and early 16th centuries. According to Chaitanya, 15th century, worship consisted of love and devotion and song and dance, which produced a state of ecstasy in which the presence of God, whom he called Hari, could be realized. Such worship could be carried out by all, irrespective of caste or creed. The writings of Narasimha Mehta in Gujarat, of Mira in Rajasthan, of Surdas in western Uttar Pradesh, and of Chaitanya in Bengal and Orissa reached extraordinary heights of lyrical fervor and of love which transcended all boundaries, including those of caste and creed. Born and schooled in Nadia, the center of Vedantic rationalism, Chaitanya's tenor of life was changed when he visited Gaya at the age of 22 and was initiated into the Krishna cult by a recluse. He became a god-intoxicated devotee who incessantly uttered the name of Krishna. Chaitanya is said to have traveled all over India, including Vrindavan, where he revived the Krishna cult. Hence, statement 1 is correct. But most of his time was spent at Gaya. He exerted an extraordinary influence, particularly in eastern India, and attracted a wide following, including some Muslims and people from the low castes. He did not reject the scriptures or idol worship, though he cannot be classified as a traditionalist. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. The Vedantist philosophy had been propounded by a number of thinkers, but the one who probably influenced the saint poets the most was Vallabha, a Thailand Brahmin, who lived in the last part of the 15th and the early part of the 16th century. Like the other non-sectarians, they were not able to make an effective breach in the caste system. However, they softened its rigor and built a platform for unity which could be apprehended by wider sections. The Bhakti songs of the Vaishnavite saints written in Hindi and other languages touched the hearts of the Sufis more than Persian poetry did. The use of Hindi songs became so popular that an eminent Sufi, Abdul Wahid Bulgrami, wrote a treatise Hakkai Hindi in which he tried to explain such words as Krishna, Murli, Gopis, Radha, Yamuna, etc., in Sufi mystic terms. www.pd 7www. Thus, during the 15th and the early part of the 16th century, the Bhakti and the Sufi saints had worked out in a remarkable manner a common platform on which people belonging to various sects and creeds could meet and understand each other. According to historians and scholars, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not pen down any written text. However, his words were recorded by one of his followers, which came to be known as Siksastika 8 verses. Hence, statement 3 is correct. These 8 verses are believed to house the philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not write down his teachings and philosophy, he did request a few of his followers, 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, to systematically present his teachings in their own writings. Q21.d. The Harappan civilization appeared in the northwestern part of India and Pakistan in 3rd millennium BCE and is collectively called the Indus civilization. It represents the first phase of urbanization in India. The Indus civilization and the contemporary cultures covered nearly 1.5 million square kilometre area in India and Pakistan. The northernmost site is Manda in the Jammu district of Jammu and Kashmir, the southernmost is Daimabad in Maharashtra. The westernmost site is Sukajenda on the Makran coast of Pakistan, and the easternmost is Alamgirpur in the Saharanpur district of Uttar Pradesh. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Q22.b. The Pratiharas were also called Gujara. They ruled between the 8th and 11th century AD over northern and western India. The Pratiharas stood as a fortification of India's defense against the hostility of the Muslims from the days of Junaid of Sind, 725 AD, to Mahmud of Ghazni. Rulers of the Pratihara dynasty. O-Nagabatu 725 to 740 AD, founder of the Pratihara dynasty with Kanauj as its capital. O-Mihira the most powerful Pratihara king. During his period, the empire expanded from Kashmir to Namador and from Kathiawar to Bihar. He was a devotee of Vishnu and took the title Adivraha. Hence pair 1 is correctly matched. O-Mahendrapala I, 885 to 908 AD, son of Mihira was also a powerful ruler. He extended his control over Magadha and North Bengal. Hence pair 2 is not correctly matched. Rashtrakutas. While the Palas and the Pratiharas were ruling over North India, the Deccan were being ruled by the Rashtrakutas, a remarkable dynasty that produced a long line of warriors and able administrators. The Rashtrakuta Empire was founded by Dantadurga, who set up his capital at Maniket, or Malkt near Modam Sholapur. The Rashtrakutas soon dominated the entire area of northern Maharashtra. Govinda III annexed Kanauj, Malwa, turned south, and defeated Lankan rulers. Amavasha preferred the pursuit of literature and religion to that of war. He wrote the first Kannada book on poetics. Faced many rebellions in far-flung areas of the empire. Hence pair 3 is correctly matched. www.pdf notes 8 www. Q23.c Condition of India on the eve of Mahmud Ghazni, 970-1031 invasion. On the eve of the invasion, North India was divided into a number of independent states. On the frontier of India, there existed the Hindu Shahi kingdom, which extended from the Punjab to Kabul. Its capital was Hind. Hence statement 1 is correct. Ojayapala, 964 to 1001, and his son Anandapala were the prominent rulers of the kingdom. Hence statement 2 is correct. Kashmir was an independent state ruled over by the Lohara dynasty and it had family relations with the Hindu Shahis. Hence statement 3 is correct. Kanauj was ruled over by Rajapala, the Gujara Pratihara king. There were independent kingdoms in Bengal, Pala dynasty, Gujarat, Solanki dynasty, Malwa Paramara dynasty, and Bundelkhand, Chandela dynasty. In the south, the later Chalukyas and Cholas have their powerful kingdoms. Q24.c Pradakshinapath refers to the circumambulatory or pathway around the main shrine. In the Nagara style of temple architecture, there were 3 kinds of the temples on the basis of access, and the circumambulatory path built in it. They are Sandara type with Pradakshinapath. Hence pair 1 is correctly matched. Narandra type without Pradakshinapath. Hence pair 2 is correctly matched. Sarvatobhadra type, which can be accessed from all sides. Hence pair 3 is correctly matched. Q25.c Haptic technology, also kinesthetic communication, or 3D touch, is technology that can create an experience of touch by applying forces, vibrations, or motions to the user. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Haptic technologies are a fascinating way of enhancing our interaction with the digital world. They can simulate the sense of touch by applying different kinds of forces, vibrations, and motions to a person using the tech. This can make us feel more immersed in virtual reality, gaming, or remote control applications. For example, if you touch a virtual button on a screen, you might feel a click or a buzz. If you drive a car in a game, you might feel the steering wheel resist your movement or shake when you hit an obstacle. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Mid-air haptics can improve the quality and safety of medical procedures by providing haptic guidance and feedback for surgeons, nurses, and patients, such as palpation, needle insertion, and wound dressing. Mid-air haptics can facilitate learning and exploration by enabling students to feel and manipulate abstract concepts and phenomena, such as molecular structures, sound waves, and magnetic fields. This technology can assist people with visual impairments by providing spatial and directional cues, such as navigation, obstacle detection, and object recognition. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Therefore, option C is the correct answer. Q26.c in Buddhism, anicca, or anicca in Pali, refers to the concept of impermanence. It is one of the 3 marks of existence, along with dukkha, suffering, and anatta, non-self. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Anicca. The principle of anicca teaches that all conditioned phenomena, whether physical or mental, are impermanent and subject to change. Nothing in the world, including ourselves, remains fixed or permanent. Everything arises, undergoes change. change, and eventually ceases to exist. This impermanence is a fundamental aspect of existence and is inherent in the cycle of birth, aging, illness, and death. In understanding the nature of anicca, Buddhists aim to develop wisdom and insight into the true nature of reality. By recognizing impermanence and letting go of attachments to transient things, individuals can find liberation from suffering and attain enlightenment, nirvana. Embracing the impermanent nature of reality is considered essential for the path to spiritual realization and freedom from the cycle of suffering. W. Q27.c Among the biggest mysteries about the Harappan civilization is the language the Harappan spoke and their writing system. It is likely that people living in various parts of the Harappan culture zone speak different languages and dialects. The writing on the seals was probably the language of the ruling elite. A total of about 3,700 inscribed objects have been found at Harappan sites. Most of the inscriptions are very short, with an average of 5 signs. The longest one has 29 signs. There are 400 to 450 basic signs, and the script is logosyllabic, means each symbol stood for a word or syllable. The script seems to have a fully evolved state, and does not show any significant changes over time. Hence, option C is the correct answer. It was generally written and meant to be read from right to left. This is evident from the fact that in inscriptions, the letters are cramped on the left side, where space had completely run out, and form overlapping letters scratched onto pottery. There are few instances, however, of writing from left to right. Longer inscriptions that consisted of more than one line were sometimes written in the Boustrophedon style, with consecutive lines starting in opposite directions. Q28.A Nahapana. C. 100. And 19 to 25 CE, was a Western Kshatrapa's ruler. In his earlier inscriptions, Nahapana has the title Kshatrapa, and in his later ones Kshatrapa and Rajan. Rudradaman I, 130 to 150 CE, was a Soka ruler from the Western Kshatrapas dynasty. He was instrumental in the decline of the Satavahana Empire and took up the title of Mahakshatrapa. Vasudeva I, 191 to 232 CE, belonged to the Kushana Empire. Kushana Empire started declining from the time of Vasudeva I, in about the mid-2nd century CE, and Vasudeva II was the last Kushana emperor. Samukha founded the Satavahana dynasty and is credited with destroying the Shunga power. He was succeeded by his brother Kanya, who extended the empire westward at least as far as Nashik. Hence, option A is the correct answer. Q29.b Recent context. Many economists have questioned the validity of the argument that corporate thirst for higher profits is the cause behind inflation. Greedflation refers to price inflation caused by corporate greed for high profits. In essence, greedflation implies that companies exploited the inflation that people were experiencing by putting up their prices way beyond just covering their increased costs, and then used that to maximize their profit margins. That, in turn, further fueled inflation. In the developed countries, in Europe and the US, there is a growing consensus that greedflation is the real culprit. Greedflation has been compared to other theories of cost push inflation, which attribute inflation to a rise in input costs. For example, in the past, a rise in the wages demanded by workers has been blamed for the rise in the prices of goods and services. In the case of greedflation, it is the rise in the corporate thirst for profits that is seen as a cost that is driving up prices. Hence, option B is the correct answer. Q30.b The battles of Tyne. The Tyne battles changed the course of the history of the Indian subcontinent, as they led to the establishment of the first Islamic sultanates in India. Both battles were fought between Muhammad Ghori and Prithviraj Chauhan. The First Battle of Tyne, 1191 CE. The First Battle of Tyne was fought in 1191 between the Ghurids, a Turkish tribe, led by Muhammad Ghori, and the Rajputs, led by Prithviraj Chauhan and his allies. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. The resulting engagement ended in victory for the Rajput forces. Muhammad Ghori was defeated as Prithviraj annexed Tabahind after a siege of 12 months. But Ghori managed to escape to Ghazni, where he regrouped and raised another army. The Second Battle of Tyne, 1192 CE. The Rajput confederacy weakened because of a fallout between Prithviraj and Jai Chandra, the Hadavul ruler of Kannauj. Muhammad Ghori now made careful preparations and marched with 120,000 men. www. 10 www. The fate of Prithviraj Chauhan is disputed about whether he was captured or killed or ruled under the suzerainty of Ghurids. Aftermaths of battles of Tyne. After the battles of Tyne, the Ghurid armies captured the forts of Hansi, Saraswati, and Samana. Then they attacked and captured Ajmer. It is also said that Prithviraj was allowed to rule over Ajmer as a Ghurid vassal for a while before being executed for conspiracy. The Tomar ruler of Delhi was also ousted soon, and Delhi and eastern Rajasthan came under Ghurid rule. Meanwhile, Prithviraj's son moved to Ranthambore and found a new Chauhan dynasty. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Q31.d Sorai Kovar is a traditional and ritualistic mural art. It is done by local tribal women during local harvest and marriage seasons using local, naturally available soils of different colors in the area of Hazarabad district of Jharkhand. Hence, statements 1, 2, and 3 are correct. Style features a profusion of lines, dots, animal figures and plants, often representing religious iconography, i.e. visual image and symbols. It has been painted on the walls of important public places in Jharkhand, such as the Birsa Munda Airport in Ranchi. It has received GI tag in 2020. Hence, statement 4 is correct. Q32.d Samkhya philosophy. The Samkhya is the oldest of all 6 systems of philosophy. It teaches the existence of 25 basic principles, tattva. Of these 25 tattvas, the first is prakriti, i.e. matter. The Samkhya system believes that the evolution of the universe is not due to God, but due to the inherent nature of the Prakriti. It is from Prakriti that all things like air, water, ether, akasa, intelligence, buddhi, self-consciousness, sight, touch, hearing, speech, etc. develop. One of the most important tattvas in all this is Purusa, the soul. As in Jainism, the Samkhya believes that there are an infinite number of souls and Purusa is not dependent on Prakriti nor is Prakriti dependent on Purusa. Yet Purusa is involved in some way in the Prakriti, i.e. the matter, and salvation lies in recognizing the differences. A very important feature of Samkhya is the doctrine of three qualities, guna. These are virtue, sattva, passion, rajas, and dullness, tamas. It is said that in the beginning, these three gunas are present in times all beings in equilibrium, but as they evolve, one or other of these three gunas come to dominate. The sattva guna represents truth, wisdom, beauty and goodness, the rajas signify fierceness, activeness, violence, energy, and while the tamas is darkness, foolishness, gloom, unhappy, etc. However, the distinction between the Purusa, soul, and Prakriti, matter, was modified in Tantricism, which developed in later days. In Tantricism, Purusa came to signify man and Prakriti, woman. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Q33.C Kamakya Temple. O Kamakya Temple, a Shakti Peeth, dedicated to goddess Kamakya, is in Guwahati, Assam. It is predominantly built in the Ahom style of architecture. The temple complex underwent significant renovations and reconstructions under the patronage of the Ahom kings during their rule in Assam. Hence option C is the correct answer. While the Kamakya temple displays influences from various architectural styles due to multiple renovations and additions over the centuries, the Ahom rulers significantly contributed to its present form and style. The temple remains an essential pilgrimage site for devotees of goddess Kamakya and a symbol of Assam's rich cultural and architectural heritage. www. www. Ahom style of architecture. The Ahom style of architecture is known for its distinctive features, including the use of durable and indigenous materials, such as bricks and terracotta tiles. The temple's design typically includes a hemispherical dome atop a square sanctum, decorated with intricate sculptural details and motifs. Q34.D. The course of the evolution of Indian music saw the emergence of two different subsystems, as Hindustani and Carnatic music. Purandara Dasa, saint from Karnataka, is known as the father of Carnatic music. After Purandara Dasa, Talapakam Annamacharya Narayana Tirtha, Bhadrakulam Ramdasa, and Kshatranja made contributions to the wealth of compositions. The birth of the musical trinity Tyagaraja, Muthuswami Dikshita, and Syama Sastri, at Tiruvuru, between the years 1750 to 1850 AD ushered in an era of dynamic development in Carnatic music. The Trinity were not only contemporaries among themselves, but also contemporaries of great composers of Western music, as Beethoven, Mozart, Wagner, and Haydn. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Q35.C. Chanakya, also known as Kautilya and Vishnugupta, was a Brahmin and a sworn 1 adversary of the Nendas. His intrigues and Mrigakataka is a 10-act Sanskrit drama credited to Siddhartha, composed around the 5th century CE. It is about a young man named Charadatta and his love for Vasantasena, a rich courtesan. Courtesan. Saraputra Prakaran is a Sanskrit drama written by Asvaghosha. It deals with the story of Sariputta, or Saraputra, the disciple of Buddha. Priyadarshika is a Sanskrit play attributed to King Harsha, 606 to 648. It deals with the story of Priyadarshika, the daughter of Dridavarman, king of anger. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Q36.D. Sana Lamak, Manipur. It is sung at the time of the coronation ceremony by the Maba priest. It may also be sung to welcome the king. It is sung to evoke the spirit of Pakangba, the presiding deity. There is a belief that this song is potent with magical powers. Hence, option D is the correct answer. Q37.A. A geographical indication, GI, tag is a name or sign used on certain products that correspond to a specific geographical location or origin. For example, Darjeeling tea, etc. As an instrument of intellectual property, it protects the local artisan and ensures the authenticity of the product. Candamel haldi, turmeric, is grown in the southern central part of the state of Odisha. It is a famous aromatic turmeric grown locally that is known to have medicinal properties. Hence, pair 1 is not correctly matched. The Idumishmi tribe of Arunachal Pradesh has a rich tradition of weaving textiles on backstrap looms. Idu Textile received GI accreditation in 2019. Hence, pair 2 is correctly matched. The 14th century Assamese Ramayana, written by Kaviraja Madhavakandeli, mentions that food items made from Johar rice were used by Ravana to awaken his brother Kumbhakarna from his deep sleep. The rice from Assam has been conferred with geographical indication (GI) status by the government of India. Hence, pair 3 is not correctly matched. Q38.d. Mystics, who are called Sufis, had risen in Islam at a very early stage. Most of them were persons of deep devotion, who were disgusted by the vulgar display of wealth and degeneration of morals following the establishment of the Islamic Empire. Hence, these saints wanted to have nothing to do with the state of tradition that continued later on. W 12 WW. Some of the early Sufis, such as the woman mystic Rabia, 8th century, and Mansur bin Halai, 10th century, laid great emphasis on love as the bond between God and the individual soul. Nizamuddin Aulia, 1238 to 1325, also known as Hazrat Nizamuddin and Mubabi Ilahi, lit. Beloved of God, was an Indian Sunni Muslim scholar, Sufi saint of the Chishti order, and is one of the most famous Sufis from the Indian subcontinent. Thus Rabia was not contemporaneous with Nizamuddin Aulia. But their pantheistic approach led them into conflict with the orthodox elements who had Mansur executed for heresy. Despite this setback, mystic ideas continued to spread among the Muslim masses. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. Bibi Fatima, the first woman Sufi saint of India, a simple woman who didn't show off her saintliness, Bibi Fatima was dear to many including Nizamuddin Aulia, who thought of her as an older sister. Hence, statement 1 is not correct. Q39.c. The institution of Wizrat, or Wikalat since both were used interchangeably, according to some accounts, can be traced back to the Abbasi caliphs. Under the Delhi sultans, the wazir enjoyed both civil and military powers. But under Balban his powers were reduced when the sultan bifurcated the military powers. As for Shir Shah, this office remained almost in abeyance under the Afghans. The position of the wazir revived under the early Mughals. Babur's wazir Nizamuddin Muhammad Khalifa enjoyed both civil and military powers. Humayun's wazir Hindu Beg also virtually enjoyed great powers. The period of Bairam Khan's regency, 1556-60, saw the rise of the Wakil wazir with unlimited powers under Bairam Khan. In the 8th regnal year, 1564-65, Akbar took away the financial powers of the Wakil and entrusted it into the hands of the Diwan-i-Kul, finance minister. Separation of finance gave a jolt to the Wakil's power. However, the Wakil continued to enjoy the highest place in the Mughal bureaucratic hierarchy despite the reduction in his powers. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Q40.c. Tirukkural, also called Kural, is the most celebrated in Sangam literature, and work that has had an immense influence on Tamil culture and life. It is usually attributed to the poet Tiruvalluvar. An all-inclusive ethical guide, the Tirukkural has as its foremost moral imperatives the avoidance of killing and the avoidance of falsehood. It also commends to the reader a feeling of compassion for all individuals, regardless of caste or creed. It deals with philosophy and wise maxims. Hence, pair 2 is correctly matched. Silappatikaram is the earliest epic poem in Tamil, was written in the 5th to 6th century AD by Longo Adigal. Its plot is derived from a well-known story. The text tells of the young merchant Kovalan's marriage to the virtuous Kanagi, his love for the courtesan Madhavi, and his consequent ruin and exile in Madurai, where he is unjustly executed after trying to sell his wife's anklet to a wicked goldsmith who had stolen the queen's anklet and charged Kovalan with the theft. Hence, pair 1 is correctly matched. Tolkappiyam is one of Tamil grammar texts and the oldest extant long work of Sangam literature. The surviving manuscripts of the Tolkappiyam consist of 3 books, Adhikaram, each with 9 chapters, Eel, with a cumulative total of 1,612 sutras. It is a comprehensive text on grammar and includes poetics on orthography, phonology, etymology, morphology, semantics, prosody, sentence structure, and the significance of context in language. Hence, pair 3 is correctly matched. Q41.b. Recent context. European Space Agency has recently launched the Euclid mission.it is set to make its way to its destination at the L2 Lagrange point, the same location shared by several other spacecraft including the James Webb Space Telescope. Lagrange points are positions in space where the gravitational forces of a two-body system like the Sun and the Earth produce enhanced regions of attraction and repulsion. These can be used by spacecraft to reduce fuel consumption needed to remain in position. Hence, statement 1 is not correct and statement 2 is correct. There are 5 special points where a small mass can orbit in a constant pattern with 2 larger masses. The Lagrange points are positions where the gravitational pull of 2 large masses precisely equals the centripetal force required for a small object to move with them. This mathematical problem, known as the general three-body problem. www 13 www Of the 5 Lagrange points, 3 are unstable and 2 are stable. The unstable Lagrange points labeled L1, L2 and L3 lie along the line connecting the two large masses. The stable Lagrange points labeled L4 and L5 form the apex of two equilateral triangles that have the large masses at their vertices. L4 leads the orbit of Earth and L5 follows. Q42.b. The rise of the Chola Empire. The founder of the Chola Empire was Vijayalaya, who was at first a feudatory of the Pallavas. Hence statement 1 is not correct. He captured Tanjore in AD 850 and by the end of the 9th century, the Cholas had defeated both the Pallavas of Kankai, Tondemandalam, and weakened the Pandyas, bringing the southern Tamil country under their control. The Cholas were hard put to defend their position against the Rashtrakutas, as Krishna III defeated the Chola king, and annexed the northern part of the Chola Empire. Hence statement 2 is correct. Age of Rajaraja and Rajendra I. The greatest Chola rulers were Rajaraja, 985 to 1014, and his son Rajendra I, 1014 to 1044. Rajaraja destroyed the Chera navy at Trivandrum and attacked Keelan. He then conquered Madurai and captured the Pandyan king, and also invaded Sri Lanka and annexed its northern part to his empire. Hence statement 3 is correct. One of the most remarkable exploits in the reign of Rajendra I was the march across Kalinga to Bengal in which the Chola armies crossed the river Ganga and defeated two local kings. This expedition took place in 1022 and followed in reverse the same route that the great conqueror Samudragupta had followed. To commemorate this occasion, Rajendra I assumed the title of Gangaikondakular. Q43.b. Ramman is a multiform cultural event and festival that combines drama, theatre, music, historical reconstructions, and traditional oral and written narratives to represent the community's environmental, spiritual, and cultural concepts, recalling its foundation myths and reinforcing its sense of self-worth. Hence, statement 1 is correct. It takes place every year in late April in the twin villages of Salodungra in the state of Uttarakhand, Garhwal region. This festival is unique to this village and is not held anywhere else in the Himalayas. Hence, statement 2 is not correct. The festival honors the tutelary god, Bhumiyal Devta, a local divinity whose temple houses most of the celebrations. The festival is held every year after Baisakhi. During the festival, after some ritual dances, the locals perform Ramkata. They enact episodes from Rama's life, beginning with his visit to Janakpur and culminating with his coronation following his return from exile. It takes place in the courtyard of Bhumiyal Devta's temple. In 2009, it was included in the UNESCO list of intangible cultural heritage. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Q44.a. A geographical indication is a name or sign used on products which corresponds to a specific geographical location or origin. Among the 3 products to get GI tag is Veeravanala cheddar butter sari woven by weavers of Veeravanala in Tirunelveli district in Tamil Nadu. These sares are known for its iconic plant and flower motifs woven on the edges, hence, option A is the correct answer. The 2 other products in line to get the GI tag include the Jadra Taruman Namakatti, produced in Jadra village in Cheyyar taluk of Tiruvannamalai district, and Kanyakumari Madhu bananas, which are cultivated in Agathizwaram, Thovalai and Thiruvatar taluks of Kanyakumari district. The highly fragrant Madhu variety of bananas contains medicinal value. Q45.c. Recent context. The Capital Markets Regulator has said it may allow companies to delist shares at a fixed price, as against the current reverse book building process. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, is reviewing delisting regulations for listed companies in an attempt to rein in the manipulation of shares of a company that has opted for delisting from the stock exchanges. www. Delisting means removing the securities of a listed company from a stock exchange. Once delisted, the securities of that company can no longer be traded on the stock exchange. Delisting can be either voluntary or compulsory. In voluntary delisting, a company decides on its own to remove its securities from a stock exchange. In compulsory delisting, they are removed as a penal measure for the company not making submissions or complying with requirements set out in the listing agreement within the prescribed timeframes. Reverse book building is the process used for price discovery. During the period for which the reverse book building is open, offers are collected from shareholders at various prices, which are above or equal to the floor price. The buyback price is determined after the offer closing price. Reverse book building is a technique used to delist a company's shares from the stock exchange by allowing existing shareholders to tender their shares back to the company. It is the opposite of the traditional book building process used in initial public offerings, IPOs, where investors bid for shares they want to buy. Hence option C is the correct answer. Q46.c. The history of the later Vedic period is mainly based on the Vedic texts, which were compiled after Rig Veda. These texts show that Aryans expanded from Punjab over the whole of western Uttar Pradesh covering the Ganga Yamuna Doab. The main factor in the expansion of the Aryan culture during the later Vedic period was the beginning of the use of iron around 1000 BC. The northern and eastern parts of India, to which the Aryans later migrated, received more rainfall than the northwestern part of India. The use of iron tools now helped people clear the dense rainforests, particularly the huge stumps left after burning, in a more effective manner. Large tracts of forest land could be converted into cultivable pieces in relatively lesser time. Painted grey ware, PGW. There has been a continuous increase in the population during the later Vedic period due to the expansion of the economy based on agriculture. The increasing number and size of painted grey ware, PGW, settlements in the Doab area shows this. Hence, statement 1 is correct. The institution of Gotra, the changes in the economy and expansion also impacted politico-social religious practices too. The later Vedic family became large enough to be called a joint family with 3 or 4 generations living together. The institution of Gotra developed in this period. This means that people having a common Gotra descended from a common ancestor, and no marriage between the members of the same Gotra could take place. Hence, statement 3 is correct. Status of women. Some restrictions on women appeared during this period. In a text, women have been counted as a vice along with dice and wine. In another text, a daughter has been said to be the source of all sorrows. Women had to stay with their husbands at their place after marriage. The participation of women in public meetings was restricted. In the later Vedic period, popular assemblies lost their significance, and royal power increased at their cost. The Vedanta disappeared completely. The Saba and Samiti continued to hold ground, but their character changed. They came to be dominated by princes and rich nobles. Women were no longer permitted to sit on the Saba, and it was dominated by nobles and Brahmins. Hence, statement 2 is correct. Religious rituals. Religion-wise, the people still worshipped gods for material gains, but ritualism took shape during this period. Prayer ceased to be the dominant mode of worship. Another important feature was the increase in the frequency and number of the yajna, which generally ended with the sacrifices of a large number of animals. Some of the important yajnas were Ashvamedha, Vajrapaya, Rajasuya, etc. Hence, statement 4 is not correct. Q47.A. The Satavahanas kept some of the administrative units found in Ashokan times. Their district was called Ahara, as it was called during the Ashokan times. Their officials were known as Amachis and Mahamitras, as they were known in Mauryan times. But historians note a significant military and feudal elements in their administration. It is significant that the Senapati was appointed provincial governor. Since the tribals in the Deccan were not thoroughly Hinduized and reconciled to the new rule, it was necessary to keep them under strong military rule. Hence, statements 1 and 2 are correct and statement 2 is the correct explanation to statement I. The military character of the Satavahana rule is also evident from the common use of such terms as Kataka and Skantavaras in their inscriptions. These were military camps and settlements which served as administrative centers as long as the king was present. Q48.C. The researchers developed a tiny, magnetically operated robot that is capable of traveling deep into the lungs and able to detect and treat the first signs of cancer. Their approach makes use of a 2.4 mm diameter, ultra-soft, patient-specific magnetic catheter, or tentacle, which can be delivered from the end of a standard bronchoscope to reach the periphery of the lungs. In addition, the tentacles possesses a laser fiber designed to enable targeted photothermal therapy to cancer cells. Lung cancer has the highest worldwide cancer mortality rate. In early-stage non-small cell lung cancer, which accounts for around 84% of lung cancer cases, surgical intervention is the standard of care. In addition to being able to navigate within the lungs during a biopsy, the magnetic tentacle robot could pave the way for far less invasive treatment, allowing clinicians to target only cancer cells while allowing healthy tissue and organs to continue normal function. Hence, statement 1 is correct. Magnetic nanoparticles, MNPs, have gained recent popularity in the past decade due to their applications in medicine, specifically cancer, and biosensing. MNPs have been proven to be efficacious thermoelectric materials, imaging agents, and drug delivery of vehicles. Hence, statement 2 is correct. They range between 1 and 100 nanometers in diameter, and the small size lends them to a diverse range of applications. Among them, they are useful in the biomedical setting as they have diverse physicochemical properties, are easy to prepare, are stable and biocompatible. They have been used as a novel approach to cancer theranostics, the simultaneous or sequential diagnosis and treatment of medical conditions. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Q49.C. Sunyata, or emptiness, is a fundamental concept, particularly in the Madhyamaka school of thought, which was propounded by the Indian philosopher Nagarjuna. Hence, option C is the correct answer. Explanation of sunyata, meaning. Sunyata is often translated as emptiness, but it does not refer to literal nothingness. Instead, it denotes the absence of inherent or independent existence in all phenomena. Interconnectedness. Sunyata highlights the interdependent and interconnected nature of reality. All phenomena are interrelated and depend on each other for their existence. No inherent self. Sunyata refutes the concept of an eternal and unchanging self, Atman. Instead, it teaches that all phenomena, including the self, are devoid of an inherent or unchanging essence. Middle way. The Madhyamaka school, founded by Nagarjuna, emphasizes the middle way, Madhyamaka, between the extremes of eternalism and nihilism. Sunyata is the heart of the middle way, as it transcends inherent existence without falling into absolute negation. O liberation, the understanding of Sunyata is crucial for achieving liberation, nirvana, in Mahayana Buddhism. Realizing the emptiness of all phenomena leads to the cessation of suffering and the attainment of enlightenment. Q50.C Noah's Ark, from a dispersed Ivan I. Hafiz painted manuscript of 1590, is an excellent painting in subdued color palette, and has been ascribed to Miskin, one of the masters at Akbar's imperial atelier. Prophet Noah is in the ark, which is carrying animals in pairs so that they may continue to flourish after the threatening flood sent by God to punish human beings for their sins. This painting lies in the collection of Freer Gallery of Art, Smithsonian Institution, Washington, D.C., USA. Hence pair 2 is correctly matched. Falcon on a Bird Rest is a painting by Ustad Mansur, Nadir ul-Asr, a title received from Jahangir, is in the collection of Cleveland Museum of Art, Ohio, USA. Jahangir had fine falcons brought to his collection, and as a keen connoisseur, he had them painted. These images were included in his official biography Jahangir Nama. Hence pair 1 is correctly matched. Tiller of the Soil was made by Nandal Bose in 1938 for the Haripura Congress. In this panel, a farmer is shown ploughing a field, the daily activity of a common man and in a village. To capture the essence of village life in his Haripura panels, Bose made pen and ink brush studies of local villagers. He used thick tempera in a bold cursory style and broad brushwork. This technique and style was reminiscent of the folk art practice of patchworkers or scroll painters. Hence pair 3 is correctly matched. www.pdfnotes.co